Hello and welcome. My name is Jim Stinger, and I am the president of the San Francisco chapter of the Society of West Coast Artists. And we are a totally volunteer-run organization. And so we're always looking for new members to help us out and also to exhibit in our gallery that is in San Bruno, California. It's a wonderful, wonderful venue to show your work. And so we would like you to join us if you're not already a member. And if you want more information, go to our website, which is Society of West-Coast Artists, all one word there, .com. And there's more information there and also an opportunity to fill out a membership form. So we'd like you to join us. And we do these demonstrations monthly, and they are free to anyone who wants to attend. That's one of the benefits of being in the Society of West Coast Artists, although you don't have to be a member. And so this month, we are really pleased to have Trowzers Akimbo be our demo artist. And I'm going to read a little bit about him from his bio on his website. So this is in his words. I was born in downtown Los Angeles, but raised in the coastal community of Venice, California. I'm the oldest of 5 children. My mother's an artist, and so was my maternal grandfather. So when, as a toddler, I showed a propensity for drawing and painting, I found lots of extended family support. The particulars of my family and where I grew up contributed significantly to the art I create today. Many feel the palettes I tend to use are influenced by Hispanic roots. My maternal grandfather, Francisco Gomez, remained a Mexican citizen his entire life. While this may be true, I think much credit should also be given to the incredible light Southern California offers and the impact on everything it illuminates. This is never more true than on her beaches, where I spent a great deal of time as a kid. Surfing and surf culture played a huge role in my life. Along with my crew, we traveled up and down the coast of California, from San Francisco to Mexico, searching out that perfect break and mind-expanding ride. Brown bodies in day-glow fabrics against the white sand or outrageously colored wetsuits paddling out through the aqua surf paints a lasting impression in your head. Other powerful, if not obvious, influences on what I do are Braque and Picasso. How can these two inventors of Cubism and multiple viewpoint perspective, standing on the shoulders of Cézanne, not be an influence? Matisse, Gauguin, Lautrec, Van Gogh, Klee, and Kandinsky. Honestly, I'm a bit of a sponge. I believe any painter's work I've ever seen has influenced my work on some level. Genetic gifts, creative support, and cultural influences culminated in the best of higher education at Cal Arts, where I had a hell of a lot of fun, met lifelong friends, and received my BFA. So we are very pleased to have for you our demonstration artist, Trowzers Akimbo. Take it away.
Okay. Hey, everybody. So I'm going to demonstrate multiple viewpoint perspective abstraction, but you'll see I use just kind of every type of abstraction. It's kind of a hybrid. I use geometric abstraction, linear abstraction, organic abstraction, even abstract expressionism and how I apply the paint sometimes. But most of my work's based on subject matter, and then I abstract from that. Let's see, multiple viewpoint perspective. Basically, I'll give a brief history of how it was arrived at in the timeline of art history. Everybody kind of knows that artists, there was really no fine art until kind of the camera came along. Prior to that, almost every artist was commercial. They were doing it for a purpose, either portraiture or documenting historic events or religious events. And then the camera came along and completely changed who the artist was, and to some degree. I mean, commercial artists still existed and continued going, but this new thing, which didn't have a label yet, fine art, kind of begun. The camera freed the painter from just documenting things for other people to have a visual record of what had occurred. And it started tremendous experiments. So that's when you saw things like Impressionism come into play, with broken painting, where basically they threw colors onto the canvas and allowed you to mix them in your mind through your eye. Then post-impressionism and other influences came in. Post-impressionism was greatly influenced by the Japanese prints that started flooding Europe. Japan had kind of been a closed society up until the middle 1800s, and then they started shipping pottery, and mostly pottery, as an export to Europe. But interesting enough, they had so many prints going on in Japan that a lot of the pottery was coming over wrapped in Japanese prints. So artists for the first time were seeing these, and it affected people like Gauguin and Van Gogh and Lautrec. And that's when you started to see a major difference in figurative painting, where they started doing outlines around their color fields. And Van Gogh even dropped shadows, which was something I didn't notice until I had been looking at Van Gogh for many years. As an adult, noticed that his work had no shadows, like Japanese prints, no shadows. And if you'll go back and look at all those paintings, you'll never find a shadow in a Van Gogh painting. Or if you do, I'd like to hear about which one it was, because I've searched and searched and I haven't found any. So from Gauguin and Van Gogh and the post-impressionists, Picasso and Braque kind of became known artists in the field. I mean, Picasso started as a highly representational artist. I think they say that at 14 he painted like Donatello already. He was kind of a genius in painting, but he came into a world that put him in a place where there was a big job ahead of him, and an encouragement for a lot of experimentation. You look at some of his early figurative paintings, and you'll see they look a lot like Lautrec. He's got some of his early paintings look like Lautrec. He went through, but he could always go back to his figurative stuff. So he took an interest, and I know that he and Braque had discussions about wanting to instead of representing the three-dimensional object on a two-dimensional surface, using the vanishing point perspective, which only allowed them to show the subject matter from one side. They wanted to somehow find a way to represent the subject matter from multiple sides at the same time on a two-dimensional surface. And that kind of led them into a lot of experimentation. I think a light went on for Picasso when there was a exhibition of African art in France while he was there, and he saw that, and especially was influenced by the masks. It gave him a lot of graphic ideas. And so anyway, they started experimenting, and Cubism kind of evolved. Analytical Cubism first, and then later synthetic Cubism, where he did more organic work with his Cubism. But multiple viewpoint perspective, just looking at your subject matter from multiple sides and taking from all these sides at the same time and representing them as one image on a two-dimensional surface. That kind of happened. Picasso, of course, went in every direction you can think of with graphics. He gave us monochromatic painting. He gave us collage. He gave us assemblage. He gave us found object sculptures. I mean, the guy was so amazing. And he was so amazing and so all-encompassing with everything that he experimented with, working from subject matter, that I think to a great degree he launched abstract expressionism too, because all the artists working at that time after World War II found if they wanted to do something progressive, every time they worked with a figure and they came around the corner, they ran into something Picasso had done, and they kind of became afraid to look like Picasso. And so in a way, he kind of launched abstract expressionism too, I think, because they realized they had to throw out subject matter to throw out Picasso. Anyway, that's kind of a brief history of what I'm going to be doing basically, which is multiple viewpoint perspective, how that came about. So I'm going to be working from a live model today, my wife, Betty, who's over here. take you over here. Tilt it down a little bit. So she's going to pose for me. The reason I like the live model is because then I can walk around and take influences from all sides of the model and try to turn them into one kind of design. What I found is I've got an advantage because I worked as a graphic designer and illustrator for many years, designed a lot of logos, did a lot of caricatures, all those things, all those kinds of reductions where you take maybe an existing object and you reduce it down to turn it into a logo design, or you have to do a caricature of somebody and you really have to look at the dominant features on a particular person's face and stylize them and exaggerate those. I think all those kind of factors have really helped me with multiple viewpoint perspective, where I'm kind of creating, I start with a drawing that's kind of a graphic design based on taking elements from all sides of my subject matter. Anyway, I'm going to get started. So you won't see Betty again because I'm going to concentrate on the canvas here. But she's out of view, and I'm going to use her as my influence to create this for you. Let's see. I think I will start with a profile. Let me see here. I've got my palette out of view over here. I'll be right back. I'm just opening up some medium here, and I'll just paint a little bit. All right.
Trowzers, what medium are you using?
I'm working in oils.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I like to use color outlines in my work, and I like to put my outlines in first. I really like what happens to a line when you paint up to it. You get shapes you can't get really any other way if you add your lines later. So I'm starting with concentrating on her profile here on this edge. Let's see. And switch colors here. Put in some eyes.
Is it okay we ask questions while
Sure.
you're painting?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Feel
okay.
free.
All right, thanks. I have a question about how do you cope with the eyesight challenge that comes with aging? Because now I have to wear reading glasses, and my doctor changed my prescription so I could see the best at an arm's length, which is the canvas. But when I look at the landscape, or the model, I need a driving glasses. So it's a challenge. How
I
do you
just
cope?
carry them with me. I have a couple pairs. Obviously, I've got my distance glasses, and they're transitional lenses, so I can. They also have bifocal, seamless bifocals through the bottom, and then I have a pair that I wear for painting, that are a little bit more close up. That are basically arm's length and arm's length plus a brush length, and then they're also transitional, so I can do everything in between. But yeah, I feel it. I tell you.
I see. Oh, transitional sounds like a good solution. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's frustrating. Okay, let's see here. I'm gonna go back to another color, to my blue. Let's see. I'm going right to paint in this, but a lot of times I'll even do a charcoal drawing. Just a simple charcoal line drawing first. So it gives me another opportunity to make modifications in my line when I put the color in. But today, just for time reasons, I'm jumping right into paint. I like to shift the horizon line between the eyes a lot, because it tells people right away that this is not an attempt at realism. Sets them off a little bit. Let's see, how far do I want to offset it? So I'm going to make this eye a little higher than the one on the other side. I use a painting medium that I got a formula from Gamblin for. One thing that always bothered me about mediums is the shine that I get on my canvas. So it's especially when I'm trying to, I photograph updates in my work and post them frequently, and the shine just always gets in the way until because I'll have areas that are matte and areas that are shine. So I think if I remember right, it's well, the formula is online for a matte. So I've got a matte medium, and it really is a nice matte medium that's a combination of their wax painting medium and one of their other mediums. And anybody who is interested can just email me. I'll give you the formula, or you can get it from Gamblin. It's up on their website. And it works really well. It's a cold wax, and one of their other painting mediums, which I can't remember right now which one it is. It's something like a 70 to 30, cold wax 30% to a 70%, 70% of the other painting medium, and it worked really, really well for me. But it's always been a frustration for me. I would get getting that shine on there. All right, let's see. Got that. I'll give her a green eye for the other eye for now. The outline anyway.
You make me ugly, I'll give you black.
So obviously I'm doing one eye front straight on and one eye in profile. Let's see. I'll move on to hair. And she's got this interesting clip in the back of her hair, holding her hair kind of in a, what would you, in a roll. So I'm going to try to, even though it's way around the back, I'm going to try to get that in. Ken, if anybody else has any questions, just ask them. I'd be glad to answer.
Sure. Are you looking at your wife's like from the front or from the side as you paint?
I go to all, it depends on what part of her I'm painting. So I started looking at her in profile, and then I went around to the front to decide what I wanted to do with her eye, with her right eye, the one on your left. I took the left eye, the left eye, her left eye, from the profile that I was doing, and then I kind of took her bangs from the front, and now I'm actually grabbing some this hair that's fallen down here on the side from the profile again. So I kind of, that's why I like a live model, because I can kind of move around and grab ideas. And of course, a lot of these things might change as I start adding form to it. Let's see here. And now I want to try to represent that back of her head where she's got that clip. That looks like I wish I could shift everything over. Let's see here. Now let's put an ear in there. Of course, I'm stylizing all the shapes as I go, but trying to base them like a caricature artist on forms that I'm actually seeing. Some more loose hair. I'm going to try to move some things over to my right as I go, because I got myself forced into a corner on this side. Let's see here. I'll take care of some of that as I start to put in the solids. And I can always scrape out if I need to, rub stuff out with turp. No, I want this down lower. So I want it to come over farther. Putting that clip in. Yeah, I see I'm really getting crowded over here. Which again is why I usually like to do a charcoal drawing. Gives me one more shot at it. Get some more red. Okay.
A quick question. What is the size of the
Yes.
canvas?
It's
What is the,
16 by 20.
thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, now we're going to decide if we're going to try to shift this over. I will. So we're doing on time.
Still have about an hour and 20 minutes.
Okay. So as you can see, that's, even though I'm still adjusting the design, I've taken parts from all sides. So here I've got pretty much a profile. That's kind of a straight on eye. Here's a profile eye, showing the back of her head, taking the bangs kind of from the front of her head. So it's, I'm coming up with my own graphic design based on all these elements from these other sides. Mouth's kind of both. It starts on the profile, but then it kind of marries to this other eye here because I get a little bit of straight on when I put the actual lips on. I'm going to try moving it over a little bit.
It's good to show them how to fix stuff.
Let's see here.
Trowzers, do the different colors of paint you're using relate to the different viewpoints?
No, but what I'm kind of, sometimes I didn't really do it in this case, but sometimes I think ahead to what color field I might paint in there. And I a lot of times use complements. So I get a little bit of vibration going on in that thin little line. So, so for example, I'm thinking I may just do her face in a stark white with some shading and things like that in it to give it some form. And I'm thinking her hair is going to be blondish, so I kind of a yellow or ochre area. So I used a violet outline. So I kind of use it. It doesn't always work out that way because I may change my mind about what the color field is that I put in. But that's kind of what I do. Sometimes I'll even do a color sketch before I start, and then I'll know what color fields I'm going to put in, and I will definitely use a complementary outline. The outlines end up being pretty thin in most places, but so you get a nice little vibration there, which I like.
Got it, thanks.
Yeah, sure. I think I'm going to try to move it all over about that far. We'll see how I do. Let's see, I'll start painting some color field stuff in there. So that eye's got to go way over, I think.
Trousers, are you using a dry cloth or wet cloth to wipe?
I'm using a paper towel, dry paper towel, but I might come in with a little terp on a paper towel too and take it out a little bit more. But at this stage, even when I start to put in the field colors, I'm really not concerned. Sometimes it adds more kind of interesting character if it bleeds through a little bit as I'm putting it on. I can always change it later. Let's see, I'm going to take out a little bit more of that right here. A lot of it's coming off. So let's see. Enough that I can see what I'm doing. Okay. The noise you're hearing is my fireproof trash can. I don't know if the rest of you painted oils keep a fireproof trash can in your studio, but you should. Okay, I think I'll start putting a few of the opaques in, the field colors. Let's see here. See how this white goes in over this, what's underneath it. That's kind of where I want to bring this hair over to. So even that painting I rubbed out underneath is giving me a nice kind of quality that I might build on. Sorry I don't talk more while I'm painting, but as you probably know that left side of your brain does the communication, handles the communication skills, and the right side does the creative stuff. So it's really kind of, I always find it hard to kind of paint and talk at the same time.
You're not as charming as you.
Okay, I'm going to try moving some of that other stuff over a little bit. Liking this better. So now I don't know how many of you guys scrape out who work in oils, and it's messy, but what I found is late in a painting, if I've done a lot of work in a painting, and I'm not sure whether my change is going to work better than what I've done, I'll scan it and try it on the computer first. I do that a lot of times late in a painting before I decide to make a drastic change. Is I'll actually visualize it on my computer and see if I like it before I go to the trouble of scraping a whole bunch of stuff out. Okay, I think moving that stuff over is going to be better. I'm going to rub out some more of this stuff, scrape out some more of this stuff. Luckily, the paint's pretty thin, so I'm not doing much scraping. It's mostly rubbing out. Yeah, not a lot of paint on there. Let's see here. Okay. Doing our bangs. Yeah, it gives me a lot more room.
Just a time check. You've got about an hour left.
Okay, thanks. Okay, I'm gonna take one a little bit more of this line work and then start putting in the field color. Let's see. work with that. Changing the shape a little bit of that neckline from, I'll come back with line afterwards. I think I'm going to transition her hair into a yellow as we move to the side. I like to use non-local color, and when you go into abstract, anything's fair game. It's much more like being a little kid playing with paint, which is why I like doing it so much. Harder to finish when you're than a representational painting, than a figurative painting, because you've got your subject matter in front of you all the way through, but a lot more fun. Boy, it's just your world's wide open. And it's much more improvisational. I mean, that's what I love about it. When I start out, I mean, other than the drawing, I'm not sure where I'm going to go with it, and I may change my mind several times through. And, paint it one way and then come back and paint it another way. It's not all done in one session, so paint dries and it doesn't always have to be scraped out. Sometimes I'm just painting over what I've done before if I decide to change my mind.
I'm curious, a question.
Yes.
Have you ever just stopped at an oil sketch and think it feels complete, like it's enough?
I've done it with figurative painting more than I have with abstracts. But I
You
have done
mean,
it with figurative painting sometimes.
you mean with an oil sketch?
With an oil sketch, yeah.
I
Because
see.
my figurative paintings, I kind of work traditionally. I'll do like a burnt sienna or burnt umber underpainting, if it was a portrait like this, and then start building up color on top of that. And a lot of those I've stopped at the oil wash. Let's see here. But I haven't done it on an abstraction yet. And I haven't done any watercolors yet as abstractions, which I've done figurative watercolors, and I do those a lot. But I really have been curious to see how I'd handle a watercolor with this kind of approach, this multiple viewpoint approach.
Can't scrape anything out of the watercolor.
Can't, yeah, I know. That's the bit. You can't change watercolors once you get started like you can with this. So it's let's see here. I'll go back to ochre on the bottom of these. And I think I'm going to introduce some red on those other bangs. We'll see what that'll do for me. A lot of times I like to just throw color in there and then have forces me to balance it. Not a very threatening red anyway, because the purple bleeding through and muting it, but it's still. Right. So at this point, the model can go home if they want. Because I'm just, now I'm just playing with paint and using form the way I want to use it. Haven't gotten to the form yet, but just throwing in the color the way I want to use it. A lot of times when if I wasn't doing a demo and I have more time, I'll use geometric shapes as these block-in colors, so it gives me more edges to work from in the paintings. For example, I might put one shape around a whole eye, a rectangular shape across an eye, or break the face in half along here with a and then make a big shape here of another color or related color to the side over here. It gives me more edges to work, but it takes time to work all that out. And this is a shorter session, so. Let's see here, I think I'm gonna add some yellow down in here. Okay, let's see. So just trying to determine what color to put where. Once I get this blocked in, I'll start working with, just get these basic colors blocked in. I'll start working on form. Quiet group. Okay, now start indicating form here and there. So let's see.
About 20 minutes remaining.
Okay. Don't like that. That's coming out. So here on out, it's just a matter of pushing forms around. I might add pattern somewhere. But I work on these things for weeks, so this is really just a start. So well, scraping will work. Sometimes doesn't work really well on acrylic prime canvases. Works much better on oil primed. Just scraping in a pattern. Something Matisse used to do all the time, especially late in his career.
Five minutes.
Okay. Not too well on yellow.
We have a question in the chat. I'm a
Okay.
I'm a realist portrait painter. It looks good. I like it. Do you think that an abstract portrait can better capture the person than a realistic portrait?
Not necessarily. Yeah, I suppose you could say something emotionally about a person more in an abstraction. Like a really good example is the kind of energy that de Kooning got with his painting of Marilyn, his Marilyn painting and his women's series. They're real explosive. So yeah, I think you can use a portrait of somebody to make emotional statements about other things, not necessarily even the person. They really can definitely communicate emotion. I mean, you look at Picasso's women series, those angry women series that he did. They're screaming. So yeah, but not necessarily. I don't think they necessarily tell you more about the individual setting. Because obviously for me, I just use them for a foil to take it in whatever direction I want to go. I don't worry about whether they look like them once I get going. I use them as a springboard to get started.
Well, this has been great, Trowzers.
Oh, thank you.
Really enjoyed your explaining the multiple viewpoint perspective approach to abstraction. It's very interesting. And I want to thank you very much for your demonstration. It was fun to watch you, and it looked like you were having fun as well.
Oh, I have a blast with these things.
Yes. So thank you again, and thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you.